Today I want to challenge you guys in this crisis that we're facing with COVID and the pandemic and the risk of infections and spreading and all of that. There's a lot of information out of there. Plastic production companies are maximizing on this time to try and promote single-use plastics, or as they're now being called, problematic or unnecessary plastics. And I would like to challenge you from Breathe to really think about what we're doing to our planet. This virus has really highlighted a lot of things that we've done, and positives and negatives. It's the first time since World War II that we've had a reduction in carbon dioxide emissions like we do today, and the benefits of that are still being researched, and they're short-term for now, and hopefully they will become long-term as people start to realize that we can live our lives well without having to travel as much as we do, fly as much as we have, and import and export as much as we have. And although for businesses it's very important to be able to live and survive and thrive, we actually don't need to be greedy. We don't need to get as much as we have been getting. And I hope that this pandemic has allowed us to really stop and reflect and think about using less, about supporting local, about thinking about what you're getting and where you're getting it from. And I just want to chat to you quickly, particularly around recycling and packaging and how to consume differently in this crisis and going forward. Recycling has ground to a halt in a lot of countries around the world, South Africa included. And they're supposed to be reintroducing it back in June here in South Africa, which is great news. But so much of our stuff that we recycle cannot be recycled. It might say that it is recyclable, but a lot of it cannot be recycled. And we're going to be doing a series over the next couple of months just trying to educate you on recycling, what can be recycled, what the different labels mean on recycling, and alternatives that you can try and buy when you go to the shops to reduce your impact, because recycling is actually at the bottom of the chain. We really need to really start trying to refuse plastics, refuse single-use, refuse unnecessary plastics and packaging. And what does that look like as an individual like you or me who go to the shops to buy our food every day? In this crisis where we can't go out to eat and we don't feel like cooking and we want to get takeaways, what does that look like? And my challenge to you is to challenge your fast food chains, challenge your restaurants, challenge your shops to get creative about their solutions and options to this problem. Five tips for you just to keep it as simple as possible. With regards to takeaways, when you phone for a takeaway, ask them if it's an option for them to bring it in a reusable bag, or if you can go and drop off your Tupperware or container beforehand and they can use it that way. Ask them if they've got a system in place, or if they would consider looking into a system where they could offer a reusable system, so that you get it can be hygienic, it can be cost effective, but a system where it's going to have less waste. So that's number one with regards to takeaways. I challenge you to get creative, look for solutions. There's some great companies out there, and we want to try and get some local companies as people are looking for ideas, innovative ideas to get startups going. Send me a message if you've got some ideas and we can see if we can get something together. So that's number one. Number two, when you go to the shops or if you order online, they offer a variety of options with regards to packaging. So if you are ordering fruit and veg from your local grocer and they're coming to deliver, ask them for a plastic-free option. Most of them will be able to give you 90% of your plastic, of your fruit and veg without plastic packaging, which is amazing, or any unnecessary packaging. So if you're ordering online or you're going that route, ask that option before you order. If you're going to the shops, try and support buying loose fruit and vegetables. Look at the least packaged options available. When you're looking at packaging, try and get packaging that is as simply packaged as possible. So if it's multi-layered, if it's a colored plastic, those kind of things are particularly difficult to recycle. So rather look for your clear plastics, and where possible avoid packaging. There's been a lot of research and study into the negative effects of plastic on our health system, and most companies do adhere to the health and hygiene rules with regards to packaging, but there's still many that don't, and our guidelines are confusing and they're changing all the time. So tip number two, when you're going to the shops, is to try and look for package-free options. And if they don't have one, again, I encourage you to challenge your local supermarket to think of alternatives. Get creative, offer alternatives for yourself. So takeaways when you go to the shops. Tip number 3, recycling. Try and think of creative ways to reuse whatever you have that you want to recycle before you throw it into recycling. So whether that's a milk carton that you're going to use as a watering can, for example, use it as a school project for kids. They're doing art and things at home. Recreate it, upcycle it, make it into a little pot plant holder and paint it and get creative. There are very many things that you can do. So try and upcycle, try and reuse your things before you throw them away. There's lots of great things out there on YouTube and various videos that you can look at. Tip number 4 is when you're buying clothes, think about what your clothes are made of. When you're shopping online, look at their policy. A lot of companies have policies now about their environmental impact. As a partner with Lizzie now, we're working closely with them to try and rethink about how they package their things, about how they get their clothes to their consumers. And they're doing a lot of online ordering. And story from today is that a friend got a whole lot of stuff pre-packed in. Each individual item was packed in plastic, and that's the way it comes all the way from China because of laws and all sorts of things. But amazing thing that Lizzie are doing is that they individually wrapping those into reusable, at least reusable shopping bags, and they will accept if you take those plastic packets back to them, they will reuse them. So they're already being reused twice instead of just being this flimsy plastic that you can't use. They've got more comprehensive plastic that is wrapped in that can be used as a carrier bag that the consumer can then reuse, or you can return to Lizzie and they will then reuse that instead of buying more. So someone like that is great. They're looking for solutions. They're trying to find more innovative ways to eliminate and reduce their waste but still maintaining quality of their clothing. What is your clothing made of? Is it synthetic fibers? Do a little bit of research as to what's more sustainable for the environment. And again, supporting local is always better. Is it made in China? Is it made in Taiwan? Is it made in India? Try and get proudly South African made products. They're great resources out there and great retailers out there that sell proudly South African clothing. Things that are made of cotton, hemp, bamboo, all of these things are natural fibers, and we want to try and support that where possible. So that's my tip number 4. And my final tip for you today, in terms of living deeply and treading lightly and reducing the waste that we elicit in our environment, is think of refillable solutions. So there are various refill dens around. We've got 2 that I know, 3 in Durban, 1 in Hillcrest, 1 in Florida Road, 1 in Durban North. There are various ones in Cape Town. They've got massive ones in Johannesburg. So look around you in your vicinity to see where you can find a refill den, and go to there with your jars. The refill dens provide jars. You can even take jars and donate them to them, and you can refill with your spices, salts, all your cleaning products, soaps, cosmetics, various cosmetics. They're growing all the time, and again, they're so open to suggestions and solutions that are zero waste and environmentally friendly. So those are my 5 tips for you today. And just to recap so that you don't forget them, tip number 1 is for takeaways, try and take your own container. Look for options that are more sustainable. Afros are using cardboard. When you order takeaways, ask them not to bring the salt and the pepper and the serviettes and the tomato sauce and the plastic knife and fork. You've got that all at home. You don't need that. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, recycling. And when you go to the shops, try and eliminate the packaging and the amount of fruit and veg and loose products that you can buy that are as package free as possible. Make your own bread. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3, upcycle. Think of what you can do with your plastic container or cardboard container that you can upcycle it, reuse it before you throw it away. Get creative. Instead of going to the shops, think of something to use that you have at home. Tip number 4 is your clothes. Where do you buy them from? Are they sustainable? Are they pure fibers? Can you support more local? Can you challenge your clothing companies not to give it to you in plastic packaging, or even paper packaging? Bring your own bag when you go shopping for clothes. And tip number 5 is to try and get refillable things where possible. So instead of going and buying pasta You can go and get it refilled at the refill den. You can get popcorn refilled at the zero waste shop. There are very many shops in your area and they're popping up all the time. So those are my 5 tips to help you live more deeply and tread lightly. And just be aware that in this pandemic, this is the time that we have to be able to create change that's going to be better for our planet going forward. So thank you for watching, and I encourage you to subscribe to our channel to see more. If you want more videos, or if you have questions, please comment in the section below things that you want more information on, and we will try and strive to get them out to you. Thank you for watching.